All right. What's up, everyone? Someone mentioned in the comments last time, they were like, oh, you didn't start with all right this time.
That's funny.
But yeah, welcome back. Loners Podcast, episode number 37. Roll that intro. All right, we're back, guys. Hope everyone had a good Christmas.
Oh yeah, Christmas.
I know.
Passed. Thank God Christmas is over.
I do feel like a weight has been lifted off a little bit.
And Happy New Year, because it's about to be New Year's.
Yeah.
Or New Year's Eve tomorrow, technically, once this is posted.
Yeah. Let us know what y'all are doing for New Year's and how your Christmas went. Drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe either. We appreciate all of you.
Why do you look at me for confirmation?
I'm just...
You're like...
So I thought this would actually be a pretty interesting video to do today. It's called What Do English People Really Think About Americans?
So Easy English made the video.
Yep.
And...
I'll drop the original video in the description. And here we go.
Hello, welcome to Easy English. So today I'm on the beach and I want to know what the people of Brighton think of their cousins across the pond. This is what Brits think of Americans. Here we go. What are your just general thoughts on Americans?
My general thoughts on Americans are, I think they're quite brash, they're quite loud people.
Uh-huh.
I was actually kicked off Facebook for 24 hours for making a remark about the Americans.
That's my mom.
There's a big...
It's because Mr. Zuckerberg is from here, that's why.
I don't think he gives
No,
a
I'm just
shit.
kidding.
But that's pretty funny. My mom gets kicked off Facebook all the time. So whenever someone says, I'm like, oh, it's probably her.
But what they did say, I don't think we're all like that, but I do notice, I have seen when we traveled other places that there's loud and obnoxious people from every country.
I think it's a lot has to do with us. I feel like a lot of Europeans say that we're loud or that we just conversate. Like we have meaningless conversations with people. Like a lot of Americans will find a reason to talk to people. They're super social.
Yeah, that is true.
So
I've heard that actually too, that like they think it's weird that if we were to go stop someone on the street and be like, oh, how's it going? Or
Yeah.
like walk by someone and like, oh, hello.
make conversation. Yeah.
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 Also here we do that when we're like doing a transaction, like a coffee
like,
shop
how's
or
your day
somewhere. Yeah,
going?
like we
What are you
start up a
doing?
little conversation.
We don't. Usually the person working does.
I
For the most
like to
part.
think I do.
Oh, okay. For sure.
contrast between everybody's, not just England's, but everybody's awareness of American culture through films and TV series and stuff, and then how it is in real life. And they have a reciprocal lack of understanding of other people's cultures, partly maybe because their media system is just so big and it pumps out so much stuff. Like, they'll remake everything, right? The Ring, The Office, the this, the that. They remake it in their own light. So they don't get as much cultural education as maybe other countries do.
First of all, what are your general thoughts?
I agree. I also feel like a lot of it has to do with, one, our country is ginormous. We've said this so many times. And not only that, but we have so many different cultures here. Like, we're not thinking, I don't know, like most people aren't thinking like, that's a German thing.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
a Russian thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
People
yeah.
just assume everything is like American made, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like what the guy was saying. We
do redo things.
We redo things so that way that people here can see it in the
Relatable
perspective
way.
that they wanted to see it.
Yeah. I think it's not nearly as bad, I guess, as it used to be. Like, I feel like now foreign films are becoming more popular here than they used to ever be in foreign TV shows,
Yeah, I see that too.
which is refreshing because it's nice to see a different take
Yeah,
on a plot
different
or
type
whatever.
of directing, different type of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Americans, US citizens?
Okay, I suppose
She was ready.
Mainly we meet Americans when we travel abroad anyway. And so we see them as tourists and don't always have the best opinion of them as tourists. They're quite loud and brash and and I guess weight is an interesting issue as well because we always see very overweight Americans. So that's sort of perception.
Right.
I don't know.
We don't live in walkable cities. There's that.
Yeah,
Everything has
that
so
is
much
true.
processed. Everything we eat is processed.
Yeah.
Almost everything we eat.
We also just like people just like spoon feed their kids sugar and everything. It's just like, I mean, we were too, I'm sure, but it's just.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Pop-Tarts for breakfast were like popular when we were kids. Anyway, but
Yeah.
that's funny. She says that we're loud. I mean, yeah. they're not
My
wrong.
thoughts a bit mixed in a way,
Okay.
because as we were growing up in poverty-stricken England, when Americans came over here, they always seemed to have lots of money and were perhaps a little bit louder than we are. However, after holidaying in America, I found them incredibly kind, quite sort of gentle and interested in people in England and the royal family, which I didn't know that much about. And also incredibly polite on the roads because they
Lady, where
don't
were
drive
you?
as fast as we do.
And how about you? What?
Okay, I don't know where she went, but she must have been to like a small town because if she would have came to a city, the driving is insane.
Absolutely insane. Maybe she was in like a suburban.
That's what
nice-
it has to be. Yeah, saying they're polite. She probably went to like Oregon.
But I can see how the tourists can be annoying. Like I get annoyed about American tourists when
Yeah.
we're in other countries.
Yeah.
And also when people are on vacation, they're 10 times happier than they are in their day-to-day life.
That's true. It is true.
So maybe
yeah,
they're. I
it
don't
is
know.
true.
Your thoughts on the Americans?
I think they can be rude and abrupt.
Yeah.
I don't like Donald Trump.
Same.
Not many people do.
No.
My experience of being with Americans in America is that they were always very friendly and very welcoming.
Okay.
And particularly in New York, for example, I met quite a few people in New York, and they were like firm but fair, and I think they're very honest.
I've never been to New York, but I have heard that. I heard that in New York, like, it's just no bullshit.
Yeah,
They're
I can
not
see
gonna
that.
sugarcoat.
They're more straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only through the sort of, I suppose, the stereotypes that you know and create through yourself. They've seemed as a nation very patriotic.
Yeah.
Compared to what perhaps we're more divided about that here. I think seems to be from whatever political background they are in America. I'd say they all appear very to believe in the flag and freedom of speech and all the the various amendments that they have.
Oh, yeah.
So I think they're probably more together in some ways than perhaps we are on certain things.
I don't know.
What?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That's shocking.
I think that's just like a outside perspective where he doesn't have the full picture.
That's definitely, he traveled to places that were, like, probably more conservative.
Yeah, yeah.
But, I mean, fair take. You know, you
Yeah.
go to one spot and you're going to adapt or absorb what you see.
It's true.
Which is so funny because we like to joke and call it like the divided states of America because we are everything that could be an opinion. People will die on that hill.
Yeah, a lot
Everything.
of times.
And it could be the most useless topic and people
Yeah.
will be like, no.
But I think it's
They'll
also
fight you
because
on it.
it's because we have the perspective of different parts of United States. So we've
Even
seen different
2 hours
areas.
in any direction
Yeah,
is going to have a different take
yeah,
than you.
yeah. It's
But
true.
they're also very different from different polarizing views as well, I suppose.
A general overview of US citizens is it's a vast mixture. This country is a small mixture, but yeah, lots of people think Americans are the big country, lazy, fat, as a lot of people say, but I've met and worked with Americans who are just not like that. And people from different states next door behave and act totally differently.
I've not travelled too much in the US. However, I've been to the East Coast, New York and Boston. My perception has been very good. New Yorkers slightly more brash than the Bostonians, I guess. But I think the perception is very much that they are slightly naive, ignorant, perhaps. And then you get this perception that they're all obese and love huge portions. I can agree on the huge portions, but I don't know if it's fair that they're all naive and ignorant. And I guess on the reverse, that they think that we are very posh and all speak well and drink tea and eat scones. And again, that's not who we all are.
Nice.
But yeah, I think there are a lot of stereotypes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a bit biased because I've got relatives in America. So,
okay.
yeah, I've got relatives in California, and I think they're great. They're really friendly and open.
And do they have any character traits that kind of connect them all together, that you say are like outstanding character traits?
I think they're very warm and friendly and hospitable. But I do love English people too. But don't get me wrong.
She's trying so hard not to offend anyone.
I know, but
it's
I mean,
I hear what
again,
she's
I
saying.
think it's also because if she's coming and she's seeing her relatives and then like being welcomed and stuff like that,
right,
it's
like
different.
she has
yeah.
an in,
Yeah.
whereas people, yeah.
I do think Americans in general are pretty welcoming.
I agree.
It depends where you are, though, I guess.
I agree if you're from the UK. I don't agree if you're from some other countries. They might be like, go back to your country. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
true.
Like
I think it does kind of
we put certain,
like how they look almost.
yeah, like
Yeah.
we put certain groups of people on a pedestal.
Yeah.
We don't with others.
It's a good point.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is the blueprint. British people.
Have you been to the US?
Yes, I have.
Whereabouts in the US have you been?
I did the Florida thing, went to Universal Studios, etc. And it was fantastic. Had a fantastic time. The Americans were lovely. It was very clean. So yeah, I had a really good time there.
Okay.
And they seemed to like the English.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, we are their cousins, so you have
Yeah,
to
we
be
are. That's
slightly
true.
nice to us.
That's what you were saying. It is true though, because we are most similar to people from the UK. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, white privilege.
Yeah, I know. Well, not only that.
It's true.
But yeah, I know.
My aunt used to live there as well in New York. So I remember New York in the early 70s and travelling down on my own on a Greyhound bus from the airport out to where she lived. And I was 15 years old. I don't think you probably let that happen now.
I remember doing that.
What are you talking in the 70s? You remember?
No, I'm just. No, I meant like because I'm from Texas, so when I would go where I'm from, I'd go like 6 hours north and back on a bus on a Greyhound.
Oh, I thought you
yeah,
meant in New
and
York.
like
I
go
was
to
like-
Austin, and then it was cool. I mean, I think I was like 13 or 14, and I would just go up by myself on the bus.
But she was talking about she would do that in the 70s, whereas now she doesn't think it.
I feel like
it's
it would be
gonna
more dangerous back then. You didn't have cell phones. You had no way to track anyone. You could just get kidnapped so easily.
Yeah, but like I don't know New York culture, but maybe the culture has shifted now, whereas before it was more like peace, love, and now it's more like give me your bag.
Yes, but I know for a fact there were a lot more murders back then in the 70s.
Well, yeah, you can get away.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
stuff, but
Whereabouts in America did you go to?
We've been to California twice, and we've also been to Florida
Ah, so
and
east and
New
west.
York. Yes.
I've worked with quite a few people from the US, I suppose, through work, primarily from the East Coast and then some from the West Coast. But I think there's such a different range of people across the states because it's such a vast country, vastly different sort of cultures and the demographics, really. So I suppose it depends on where you go, what different kind of people you experience.
I do think that one of the things that is actually like really cool about us is that we do, I think, have almost some of the most
diverse
mix of cultures.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great to like see different cultures
And
but then-
different foods, different things.
I
Yeah.
love having a melting pot of different foods.
I guess it also depends where you're at here too.
Right.
Because where I'm from.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm sorry. It is your responsibility to like
Venture out.
get the fuck out of your bubble.
Yeah.
The cool thing about America is you don't need a passport to experience another culture here. Like you just don't.
You could take a flight to like
Or a
California,
road
New
trip.
York, or
Yeah,
something.
I know not everyone has like the means and everything, but like you can take a road trip somewhere. Like if I'm sorry, but like I've seen people do it that have nothing. You know.
Yeah,
it's
I know
gonna
what you
sound really like a hot take, but if homeless people can get on a damn subway and get somewhere, like you can go somewhere and experience a different culture for a day or two.
Fair point, Linda.
I mean, I don't know, unless you live literally in the middle of nowhere.
Like the center of the United States. Must be such an interesting place to live in the center.
Well, what is the center? What if the center is like a fucking huge city? Obviously it's not a huge city, but like
I'm trying to think
somewhere that's like populated.
You have like Chicago going this way a little bit.
I'm so bad at geography.
Yeah.
If you could take a character trait or a cultural thing from the US and bring it to UK to improve like UK life or UK culture, is there something that you like that you take?
Yeah, I think I'm a huge sports fan. I think the college sport is amazing, and so I went to university and played first team tennis, but I was playing in front of maybe 3 people, whereas over there, it's as big as some big tournaments, and I think it's the same for all sport. So I think that culture of sports in college and university being of huge importance to getting into a professional sport would be really, really cool.
Right, because you get kind of sponsored.
Yeah, you get sponsored and you get drafted into the professional leagues as well.
Right, nice, well said.
I guess their lack of reserve, I suppose, how does that contrast with how you see people in our country? Americans are more, they give their opinion more freely, I think.
Right.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think we probably could learn a bit more from that. We're sometimes too reticent, too shy to say what we think, too closed, whereas Americans are much more open. You can sort of tell what they're thinking and feeling.
Yeah, I do agree.
It's because we ain't got nothing to lose.
No, I know. No, but I do agree, but
freedom of speech.
I think it is cool how much we are open about things here, but then it also kind of can backfire when, I mean, it's all over the world, but when you look at like someone like Kanye or something who says
that's like a god complex.
That's what I'm saying, but it's like that's where a little bit of the free speech gets a little bit,
convoluted,
off the wrong way, because it's like you're saying something that this guy, people look at him like a god, and then you say something that's very hateful towards a certain group of people.
I just think it's a little different because he has a platform. Like if you shouldn't be speaking that way regardless, but like if someone on the street is like yelling how much they hate
a certain race or something,
marginalized group of people, and you're like, okay, buddy, get a job or something, and then you hear Kanye, someone who he knows, like someone who everyone knows has an influence. He's not new to this industry, like,
it's different.
Like, come on, dude. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, but then it's hard because if you were to control or try to control anyone's speech, it's like attacking what we're like built off of in this country. And so I think it doesn't need to be that black and white. I think there can be little variables, like correct me if I'm wrong, but in one of the videos we saw before in the UK or other places, you can get like arrested for inciting hate or inciting like stuff like that, like if you were to be like yelling at someone, calling them a racial slur, whereas here the cops would just be like, break it up and be like, go home or go away.
They'd be like, white people.
But correct us if we're wrong on that.
I think you are right. I think they can get some type of.
That's what I'm saying. So that's where I think it goes in a little more, where it's like, yes, you do have freedom of speech, but it's like you can't just be promoting hateful things for no reason. Be
intentional with what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Right. Is there anything that you would take?
I think the lady was saying like they will withhold for the other people's feelings, whereas
they'll be reserved just to like
their culture or from their sort of personality traits that would improve Britain.
Yes, they seem to be quite happy to what we call blow your own trumpet.
I like
whereas we always downplay anything about ourselves. And I think that's good. I think it must be good for children to have confidence in themselves. Yes.
Yeah, you can toot your own horn
yes,
as well.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We're quite... you have to be self-deprecating.
Yes, exactly, yes.
That is much more of the humor, too, I've noticed in the UK. It's a lot more like self-deprecating humor.
I agree.
Yeah.
Whereas people here will brag before they have anything to show for it.
Yeah, that's true.
That positivity, I think, generally, I think would go down pretty well, I think.
Is this
Because-
saying that we're a bit
Go on.
self-deprecating or something? Or?
Self-deprecation is fine.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite a nice trait.
I think it's funny.
But I think sometimes it can go a bit far, and I think a lot of people can sort of put themselves down, or it can be a bit oppressive.
Right.
Like the British can be a bit oppressed.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like the Americans are much more open to what life can bring.
I will say, yeah, I do think I don't want to say opportunistic because that sounds like you're taking advantage of someone, but just that we, I guess, really, I don't know how to say it. We have like fantasies of what our lives can become, and we do really a lot of Americans do make that shit happen.
What do you mean? Do you mean people will talk before accomplishing things?
No, I'm saying like let's look at like entrepreneurship, right?
I feel like people flex a lot here. Like
Yes,
they try
yes.
to like show you how great their life is.
Yeah.
It's like no one asked.
And that's
Shut
what they're
up.
selling is how great their life is.
Right. And
yeah.
I think it's very like boastful kind
Yeah,
of.
maybe this is more before social media and TikTok took such a huge push. I think like before that, most of those people are actually genuine that built a company or built something, right? Like, and then showed afterwards. Like, you hear about them on the news or something like that, or in a magazine. Now it's just like you can get people who are renting Lamborghinis for a day and then saying like, buy my course if you want to live like me, and then that fucking it's different. It's different now.
Yeah, no, it's kind of sad.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
The one thing I think Americans have got, which a lot of people don't agree with, is they believe in their country. Majority, perhaps not everyone, but I think Americans say, hang on,
Yeah.
and and they're proud of it. And I think Britons should be the same. And there's lots of reasons why they're probably not.
Yeah.
But we should be proud of what we got. We've
It's
done a
seen
lot.
as a bit of a faux pas here to be kind of proud of your nation.
Yes,
Right?
yeah. People are embarrassed, I think, too.
Thanks for watching this week's episode. Let us know in the comments below your thoughts on the US citizens, and we'll see you next week.
That guy.
He's like a little doughboy.
It was interesting. It was a good video.
It was.
Yeah.
I like his like style of interviewing.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
like,
it's nice.
talking to people. The last dude, I think, again, it's divided. I don't think people who challenge the way we run things here are like, I hate it. This place sucks.
Yeah.
You know, occasionally we have our moments where we just like, we'll say shit like that. We don't necessarily mean it to the core. But it's just because we know that like our leaders could be doing so much more for us if certain things weren't at play.
Yeah.
And if they really just like, we just know the potential that
Yeah.
this country has.
But it just gets messed up every time that they make stupid decisions in charge.
Yeah, and it's like certain propaganda is way more pushed to keep us divided, and it just makes you really question like what do you want? Do you want people to like, do you want our country to be what you guys try to tell us it is?
Yeah.
Because you're taking steps to not
The opposite
bring
way,
us
pretty
there.
much. Yeah.
But you know, there's so much fear mongering in this country from both sides.
Yeah. It has to do with such a big media presence.
Yeah, and it's like it kind of keeps people like pessimistic.
Yeah.
Into like not thinking things will get better. So it's almost like you have the people who are like vote, and then you have the people who are like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And I almost can't blame either side.
Yeah, you really
I understand
can't.
both sides of that.
I think the big thing too is that most people that not talk down about the country, but they just think that like
They see through the bullshit.
Yeah, and I don't think that they don't have pride in their country. I think most people that say negative things do have pride in the people of the country, because the people are like there's amazing people everywhere.
Yeah,
but I think they're just talking about mainly more about like the people in charge and how they don't really give a shit.
And also the media. It's like, give it a rest. Like, I'm exhausted. We don't even watch the news, and I'm exhausted from hearing about shit.
Yeah, because now the news here takes all the form of like Instagram, TikTok. They find their ways in there, yeah. So you're getting it no matter what. So you're gonna get these two sides like that.
Yeah,
either
even
way.
during your leisure moments, you're being fed like shit
everywhere.
It's like, ugh.
But yeah.
Anyway, that was a great video.
We hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, and if you haven't, like and
Thanks.
subscribe.
Thank you, Easy British English.
Easy British English.
Oh, okay.
Don't forget to jump over to our blog channel too and like and subscribe on those videos.
Do that.
We appreciate y'all.
We'll see you in the new year.
Take it
Ciao.
easy, loners.